Why dogs sigh around you? Your dog has been trying to tell you something every single day, and there's a good chance you've been missing it. It happens in a single breath. Your dog lies down, rests its chin on its paws, and lets out a long, low exhale, almost human in its weight. You barely notice it. Maybe you smile, maybe you say aw, maybe you don't register it at all. But that sound is not empty air. It is one of the most misunderstood signals in the entire language of dogs. Some people believe it means their dog is sad. Others think it's boredom or judgment or even guilt. What researchers who study canine behavior are finding is more layered than any single explanation. And once you understand it, you'll never hear your dogs sigh the same way again. Why this behavior matters. Most dog owners live alongside a running commentary they never learned to read. Barks get attention, tail wags get photographed, but the quiet sounds, the sighs, slip past almost unnoticed, even though they may carry some of the clearest emotional information a dog gives us all day. Here's the misconception that trips up even devoted owners. They assume a sigh only means one thing, usually the human thing, disappointment, or I'm so over this. But dogs are not small furry people. Their bodies produce the same sound for very different internal states, which means the exact same sigh, heard on two different afternoons, can mean two completely different things. That distinction matters. Veterinary behaviorists who study canine emotion have pointed out that sighing shows up across multiple categories of dog behavior at once, sometimes tied to relaxation, sometimes to frustration, sometimes to the simple mechanics of breathing. When you can't tell those apart, you risk responding the wrong way. Comfort a bored dog, and you might accidentally teach it that sighing gets your attention. Ignore a stressed dog's sigh, and you miss a moment when your dog needed you to notice. Understanding the sigh isn't a party trick. It's a small, repeatable window into what your dog is actually experiencing, moment to moment, in a life that mostly happens in silence. The science to understand why dogs sigh. It helps to start with what a sigh actually is, mechanically. Veterinarians describe it as an involuntary interruption of normal breathing, a deeper, longer inhale followed by a slower, more deliberate exhale. It's not a bark, a whine, or a growl. It doesn't usually involve the vocal cords at all. It is, at its most basic level, a respiratory reset. That's the science of the how. The science of the why is where it gets interesting. In humans, sighing serves a genuine physiological purpose. Small air sacs in the lungs can collapse during shallow, regular breathing, and a deep sigh helps reinflate them, a kind of biological refresh button. Veterinary experts believe something similar happens in dogs. So on a purely mechanical level, every dog needs to sigh sometimes, the same way every dog needs to yawn or stretch. But that's only part of the story. Dogs, unlike most animals that share our homes, have spent roughly 15,000 years evolving alongside humans, watching our faces, tracking our voices, adjusting their behavior based on how we react. Domestication didn't just make dogs friendlier, it made them extraordinarily fluent in getting a reaction out of us. And a behavior that starts as a simple physiological function can, over time, become something a dog uses on purpose because, whether the dog realizes it or not, it works. If a sigh reliably gets a head scratch or, "What's wrong, buddy?" a smart dog will offer that sigh more often. This isn't calculation in the human sense. It's the same kind of trial and error learning that shapes every behavior a dog repeats. So a single sound, the Sigh, sits at the intersection of biology and learned communication. That overlap is exactly why researchers say context matters more than the sound itself, what your dog is really communicating. Here's where the picture gets genuinely fascinating, because a sigh is not one signal. It is several, and the only way to tell them apart is to watch everything happening around it. The relaxed sigh. This is the one most owners recognize instinctively. The deep exhale that comes right as a dog is settling into rest, often on the edge of sleep. Trainers who study body language describe this version as accompanied by a soft mouth, relaxed jaw, half closed or drooping eyes, a body that has fully released its tension. This sigh is not a complaint. It is closer to the sound of your own body when you finally sink into a couch after a long day. It is contentment made audible. The frustrated sigh. Now picture almost the opposite posture. Your dog is sitting upright, eyes wide open and alert, watching you intently, maybe by the door, maybe next to your desk. The sigh that comes out here has a completely different meaning. Paired with an open, alert face rather than closed, sleepy eyes, this sigh often reads as something closer to impatience. I am ready for something to happen, and it is not happening. Think of a dog waiting for a walk that keeps getting delayed. Same sound, opposite emotional register, and the eyes are your best clue for telling them apart. The learned attention-seeking sigh. This is the one almost nobody expects. Dogs are highly sensitive to cause and effect, and if a sigh has ever earned attention in the past, some dogs will begin offering it strategically, not out of genuine emotion in that moment, but because it has become an effective tool. If your dog sighs dramatically while staring at you across the room, and you respond every time, you may not be witnessing an emotional state at all. You may be witnessing a very effective, very cute negotiation tactic. We'll come back to why that distinction matters when we talk about what to actually do about it. Common myths. Let's clear up the biggest misunderstandings because a few of them are almost universal. Myth: my dog sighs out of guilt. This is one of the most persistent beliefs in dog ownership, and it doesn't hold up well under scientific scrutiny. What owners usually interpret as guilt, a lowered head, avoided eye contact, a slouched posture, sometimes a sigh, is more consistently explained as a dog reading your body language and reacting to your tone or posture, not reflecting on its own past behavior. Dogs live largely in the present. A sigh after you discover a chewed-up shoe is very likely a response to your anger in that moment, not remorse over a decision made 20 minutes earlier. Myth: sighing means my dog is sad or depressed. Sometimes yes, but far more often, sighing simply marks the end of an action. Behaviorists sometimes describe it as terminal punctuation, a full stop at the close of an activity, whether that activity was a nap, a walk, or a game of fetch. A sigh after collapsing onto a dog bed post-zoomies isn't sorrow. It's closer to the exhale you let out after finishing a workout. Myth: it's all about dominance. Dominance theory has been used to explain almost every inconvenient dog behavior for decades, and sighing is no exception. Some older training advice frames it as a subtle challenge to authority. Modern behavioral science has largely moved away from dominance-based explanations for behaviors like this. Sighing tracks far more reliably with context, arousal level, and what a dog has learned earns a response, not with some ongoing contest for household rank. Where the evidence is genuinely uncertain, researchers are honest that sighing is a difficult behavior to study precisely because it shows up in overlapping emotional categories, and dogs can't confirm what they're feeling in the moment. A 2024 literature review in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that sighing appears across multiple behavioral themes rather than fitting neatly into one, which is really just a scientific way of saying, even the experts agree it depends. What you should do. None of this means you need to become a forensic analyst every time your dog exhales loudly. But a few small habits can sharpen your read considerably. Watch the eyes before you interpret the sound. Half-closed, soft eyes plus a relaxed body almost always signal contentment. Wide open, alert eyes plus an upright posture almost always signal something closer to frustration or anticipation. The sigh is the punctuation mark. The eyes and posture are the sentence. Notice the timing. A sigh that follows your dog lying down after play is very different from a sigh that erupts while your dog is staring at you expectantly. Context, what just happened, and what your dog seems to want next tells you more than the sound itself ever will. Be thoughtful about reinforcement. If you suspect your dog has learned that sighing gets a reaction, you don't need to ignore your dog coldly. But consider offering attention on your own terms. At times your dog isn't performing for it, rather than exclusively when the dramatic sigh shows up. This isn't about fixing a manipulative dog. Dogs aren't being sneaky, they're being smart, using a strategy that has worked for them before. You're simply adjusting which behaviors get rewarded. Know when a sigh isn't just a sigh. Veterinarians note that occasional sighing is normal and rarely a health concern. But sighing that becomes frequent, sounds different than usual, or comes paired with other changes such as lethargy, restlessness, changes in appetite, avoidance, or excessive panting, is worth a vet visit. The line between an emotional sigh and a symptom of pain or respiratory trouble can be surprisingly thin, and owners who know their dog's normal patterns are the first line of detection. Don't overthink every single exhale. Not every sigh is a message. Sometimes it's simply air escaping as your dog's body settles onto the floor. The goal isn't paranoid vigilance, it's better pattern recognition over time. Surprising facts and real-life examples. Dogs aren't the only species that sighs meaningfully in the company of humans. Horses and cats do it too, which suggests something intriguing. The animals that have spent the longest, closest histories living alongside humans may have developed or repurposed the same audible signal as a form of cross-species communication. It's a small but striking thread connecting very different animals through shared domestication. There's also a quieter twist to this story that most owners never consider. Dogs may be reading your sighs, not just producing their own. Dogs are remarkably attuned to human emotional cues, voice tone, facial expression, posture, and there's reason to think they pick up on human sighs as signals of sadness or frustration, sometimes responding with comforting behavior of their own. The sigh, in other words, may not be a one-way broadcast. It might be part of a conversation running in both directions, most of which neither species is consciously translating. And here's a detail easy to miss. The mechanics differ slightly between us. Humans typically sigh out through the mouth. Dogs sigh primarily through the nose, sometimes with the mouth playing a smaller supporting role. If you've ever heard a soft, breathy exhale through your dog's nostrils, rather than a big, open-mouth huff, that's the classic version. And it's worth noting that anything involving rattling, groaning, or a rougher edge isn't a true sigh at all, but a different vocalization that may deserve closer attention. Final takeaway. A sigh seems like nothing, a puff of air, gone in a second. Easy to miss between the bigger, louder signals dogs give us. But it turns out to be a small case study in everything that makes canine communication so rich. A behavior rooted in basic biology, reshaped by thousands of years of living alongside us, capable of meaning rest in one moment and restlessness in the next. Decoded not by the sound alone, but by everything surrounding it. The next time your dog settles onto the floor and lets out that long, familiar breath, you won't just hear a sigh. You'll notice the eyes, the posture, the moment it happened in, and you'll understand in that instant a little more of what your dog has been quietly saying all along. The more we understand our dogs, the less mysterious their behavior becomes, and the stronger the bond we build with them.